and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? I stumbled across this video today. Culture shock, driving in Germany versus the USA. I love the subject. I know you guys love cars, so I figured I want to react to it. And I scrolled through, the chapters here. I can see he talks about tunnels, the roads, driving on Sundays. These are all topics that I haven't really heard anything about. So, I'm excited. Sounds interesting. Go check out his channel, Traveling Expat Life. Let's see what we got here.
Hello everyone, this is Lee, and we are on a nice Sunday drive in Germany on a kind of a gray, cold, rainy November day. So
I may skip to where he starts, listing the things specifically. We'll see.
So out here driving on the wonderful German Autobahn.
The trees are going by pretty quick.
Thought I would talk a little bit about driving in Germany versus driving in the United States. Maybe compare and contrast. Talk about pros and cons of both places.
I'd love to hear some pros about driving in the USA because I have yet to, I think, ever hear a single one. I want to hear it. Hey, maybe the pro is you can just go in whatever lane you feel like. You know what I mean? It might not be safe. It might not be efficient, but you can just pretty much just go in whatever lane you feel like. It's up to you. No stress.
So a big, the thought of most Americans when they think about driving in Germany is that, I can't wait to get there and get on the Autobahn.
I would be terrified.
No speed limits. Drive anywhere you want to with no speed limit as fast as you want to go all around the country. And, you get from A to B super, super fast. Well, that is not entirely true.
I mean, I kind of think getting A to B, if it's a long distance, would be a lot quicker. Probably not on like a short everyday trip.
Right. So there are places on the Autobahn that have no speed limits. And sometimes it's really fantastic. It can be really great. If you get on one of those stretches, there's no speed limit. We can find a time when there's not much traffic and you can just put the hammer down and you
put my Corolla to the test.
Can fly, and it can be really, really nice sometimes. But there are also lots of times where there are speed limits. The Autobahn does have speed limits. For example, obviously in urban areas where high population, lots of traffic, speed limit tends to go down lower.
That makes sense.
And the bane of my existence,
the speed limit becomes like 200 kilometers per hour instead of infinite.
And driving in Germany, the construction sites,
I was being sarcastic. It's probably, what would it be on the Autobahn? Probably like 120 or something, I'm guessing, if there's a speed limit.
Stella. And it seems like they are everywhere, and sometimes it seems like you can't drive more than 2 or 3 kilometers without running into another construction site. And so,
I mean, when the roads are like perfect, I can imagine asphalt doesn't take care of itself. You know what I mean? That's the unfortunate thing is if you're going to maintain the roads as well as Germany does, I can imagine that makes sense. There's a lot of construction.
The lanes get smaller, everything compresses down, the speed limit goes down, and it can be very, very stressful and very, frustrating to drive in those situations. So there's that. And also in tunnels, for some reason, any tunnel you get to, if you're on the Autobahn, maybe you're driving somewhere really smooth and there's no speed limit, and you may be going at Americans, we would say 100 miles per hour, around 160 kilometers per hour, 120 miles per hour, 180 kilometers per hour. So you may be going really fast, and then all of a sudden you hit this tunnel, and for really no reason, the speed limit just goes down to 80 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 48, 50 miles per hour. And so you have to slow down you go through the tunnel. Now I get it. I'm sure there's a safety reason for that. You know, they don't want people driving too fast through the tunnels. You know, a lot of bad things can happen. But some of
Yeah, I'm trying to think as he's saying that. Why would that be? I guess one thing is if there is an accident inside the tunnel, you know, there's not really, it's more difficult to avoid it. That's for sure. You know what I mean? It could be a really bad pileup inside the tunnel.
it seems a bit excessive, and then you really have
And depending on if the tunnel, you know, it's probably not dead straight. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. But my point is your vision might be occluded a little bit. So makes it a little bit more dangerous.
to watch, and if you don't slow down, they have these cameras, the blitzers. They'll take your picture if you're driving too fast, if you're breaking the speed limit. And then a few weeks later, you'll get a nice letter in the mail saying, hey, you were driving 120 kilometers per hour in an 80 kilometer per hour zone, and you get a nice ticket, right? So there's that, lots of tickets. Now,
The only thing, that's an interesting thing, and they do have some stuff like that with the red light cameras here in America, but I always wonder, you know, they don't know who's driving the car. You could just say, it wasn't me. But maybe it's a little bit different in America. I mean, there's different like parking infractions and tickets. You know, the tickets, like a speeding ticket, goes to the driver, not the car. Meaning, you know, if my cousin's driving my car, he gets the ticket. He has to pay it, not me. Maybe that's not how it works in Germany. Maybe it's just like, hey, it's your car. So whoever's driving it, you're responsible.
what's nice about driving in Germany, other than the times when you do hit a nice stretch of Autobahn where there's not much traffic and there's no speed limit, German drivers tend to know the rules of the road, and they tend to follow them very well. So slow vehicles stay in the right lane, you only get in the left lane to pass. They know who has the right of way, and they're very good at following the rules. So that makes traffic, for the most part, flow pretty smoothly. Now, Americans, on the other hand, we don't really know the rules, or if we know the rules, we just don't follow them. And
I wonder what it is culturally, where it's just like, you know, the rule abiding is just a little bit more relaxed over here in America in general. I feel like not just with cars, but with pretty much, you know, making noise and stuff. I wonder what what causes that. Is there something about the upbringing? Or maybe that's just the way it is, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny how it seems to be that way in the world. It's just the way it is. For whatever reason, humans in Germany, a little bit more abiding of the rules. America, a little bit more like not.
we get away with it to a certain extent in the United States, in North America, because
Or maybe it's the enforcement of the laws in Germany. Maybe it's the, maybe it's the enforcement.
there's just not as much traffic, right? So there's not as much traffic, so you can kind of ignore some of the rules. But every time I go back to the United States and I drive on the freeway, I get really, really frustrated at all of you who don't know the rules, and you might be driving really slow over in the left-hand lane, and so it's problematic. If the United States had the volume of traffic on the roads that Germany does,
Now that's interesting, because you always hear about, you know, in Germany, much more people walking, much more people cycling. So why is there more traffic? Is it just because it's more densely populated? I mean, the U.S. is a gigantic country. Maybe that's why.
the way we drive, I think it would be very, very problematic. Yeah, so Germans know the rules. You know, there's nice places with no speed limit. The roads tend to be in very good condition, so that kind of, you can't have it both ways. You got to have roads in good condition, and you also have to have road construction, right? So sometimes I think their road construction is a bit excessive. Sometimes it seems like they repair roads that don't even need to be repaired yet, but there you have it. The roads tend to be in very, very good shape. Now,
I'm guessing the Germans watching would be like, yeah, that's that's what you need to do to. You don't want to wait until the road is falling apart. That's what they do here in America. I mean, they wait until it's like falling apart to repair it. Hopefully not to the point where it's like not drivable, but you know, wait until there's some cracks, some potholes, then they'll come out and repair it.
the nice thing about driving in the United States, I kind of alluded to this already, is that we just don't have the volume of traffic. So you can get on the highway and you can drive for miles and miles sometimes, and you may not see another car, depending on where you're at. And a lot of my European friends who have been to North America, that's one of the things they always comment on, is like, man, it's so nice driving in North America because there's no traffic on the roads, right? So they really
I've never heard that. Interesting.
like that. You know, they like driving across Texas, across the western United States, you know, miles.
I mean, yeah, of course, when you're in the city, there's a ton of traffic, but as far as going between states, between cities, long stretches of pretty quiet interstate roads, you know. I mean, there's other cars, but, you know, it's usually not hectic at all.
Miles and miles and miles of nice highway with not much traffic. All right, so here we are driving through a nice stretch of Autobahn on this gray, a little rainy November day. And one thing you might notice, now this is a very nice piece here because there's not a lot of traffic. And I'll show you over here, if you look on the
I was going to say, this kind of looks like, you know, standard amount of traffic.
other side, there are a lot of trucks stopped over there. And that is because in Germany on Sunday, trucks are not allowed to drive on the Autobahn. So Sunday could be a very nice day to drive. So if you're out and about and you want to take a little drive on the weekend, sometimes Sunday can be very, very nice. Now, the bad thing about driving on Sunday is if it's a school holiday, everybody else is driving too. So even though there aren't any trucks on the road, sometimes Sundays can just...
A school holiday? Why would it not be a school holiday? You guys get Sundays off from school, don't you? Why are trucks not allowed?
be absolutely horrendous for traffic here in Germany.
It just happens so fast. I just need to buy some.
Yeah, so I talked about some of the advantages of driving in the United States. You know, talked about the lack of traffic or the reduced amount of traffic, the reduced volume. Another thing, a couple of other things that's nice are the roads tend to be bigger, they're wider, there's more shoulders on the road. So, for example, sometimes here in Germany, there's no shoulder. So, if you have to pull over, it can be really challenging. The lanes get really narrow, especially in those road construction areas. The lanes can get really narrow. So if you have a wide vehicle, you know, most Europeans tend to, you know, drive fairly small cars, certainly not as big as we have in the United States. So if you have a bigger vehicle, it can be really challenging navigating these small lanes. And of course, through the old villages, some of these...
So there's parts of the Autobahn with no shoulder? I assume that's not what he's saying. Because that seems, you know, shoulder's kind of necessary. I feel like if you're going that fast, if something malfunctions in your car, you need somewhere to pull off. But hey, I don't know.
Roads just weave through old medieval buildings, so that could be difficult as well. Parking can be very challenging in Germany and in Europe in general. Parking spots are much smaller, much more crammed in. They can be...
Oh, that's interesting. The spots are actually smaller. They're not built for those stupid, gigantic American trucks that have 8 wheels. You know, I don't know. Maybe you guys haven't even ever seen this. You come to America, at least if you come to the Midwest, you'll see a pickup truck that has, you know, 4 wheels in front.
So, and that's not...
That requires a big spot.
Nice in the United States or North America in general to have big parking spots, and it's much easier to park your car. So I know a lot of people just want to come to Germany, hit the Autobahn, and drive as fast as they can all the time. And there are places you can do that, but it is certainly not everywhere. And I would say on average, if you're going on a road trip, and let's say you're driving 300 miles, and you're going to do most of that on the German Autobahn, even though a large part of that may have no speed limit, most of the time it's going to take you longer to drive, take you more time to drive 300 miles in Germany than it would in the United States, simply because of the road construction, the reduced speed limits, and the amount of volume of traffic on the roads, right? So those are some of the differences, some of the pros and cons, and hope you enjoyed this video.
That was a great video. I'm very curious what the Germans have to say in the comments. Let's see. Oh, he's saying he's a passenger and not driving in this video. Okay. Okay. For no reason. When two cars pass each other on a road, air pressure differences between the car as well as on the other side of them differ in a tunnel or even under a bridge. There's not enough space above and beside the car to weaken the resulting airflow forces. This is a nerdy answer. I like it. Consequently, one or even both the cars might get hurled around. Accordingly, in tunnels, the speed limit. Now, it's not like it's oncoming traffic in the tunnel, right? We're all going the same way. But I guess if one car is going much faster passing another car, accordingly, in tunnels, the speed limit may be reduced to 50 kilometers per hour. Few people know this, and virtually everybody thinks that these speed limits are crazy. Okay. That's it. That's logical. Even though we have no speed limits, I think most Germans are driving relatively responsible, especially when I consider it to other countries. Coming to the U.S. and driving on Washington, D.C. highways showed me how crazy it can get. Oh, it can get crazy. Yeah. I hate driving near big cities here in America, or in big cities. 7, you should use the right lane. Even here in the YouTube comments, we got
Very, very nice.
It's being called out.
The bad.
That's funny. I didn't even notice that. Tisk tisk. We actually have a word, sometimes kind of a slur for people who only drive on Sundays. Sonntagsfahrer. Sunday driver. It's mostly referred to older folks who tend to drive more insecure, thus slowing everything down. Sonntagsfahrer. That's funny. All right. Fascinating. Some interesting topics there I hadn't heard much about. I love learning more about it, you know. That way, the day I show up in Germany, I'm going to just be able to get behind the car. I'll know exactly what to do. Won't make a single mistake. Nobody will be upset with me. It'll be perfect. Like out of a dream. Everybody will be chanting my name when I step out of the car. Best American we've ever seen drive here in Germany. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.